we got a special guest with us tonight. I love celebrating indie black comic artists and indie black creatives, period. You know, and everybody's on this train here.
In case you didn't know it, it is Black History Month, the shortest month of the year.
However, even though we get one extra day, Blerd's Eyeview celebrates 366 out of the year. So we don't play around. And for those that's been sticking around from day one, y'all know there's no lie to what I just said. I'm like Cat Williams. Where did I lie? So we have Euwarnii Hughes in the building. Euwarnii. My guy, I read this book.
Hey, Kings and Queens, thank you again for the opportunity to be here. It's a blessing.
Look, when you describe your book, BoldSaga, when you describe this book, and one, you have a gift for the acronyms. Thank you very much. I'm gonna show it on the screen, but while I get that up, tell the people about BoldSaga.
Perfect. Well, Kings and Queens, BoldSaga is an Afrofuturism manga series empowering kings and queens to seize greatness. It's all about the underdogs rising, and it follows Masego Umnatha on his journey to be the next Anansi, like his role model Shaka Zulu. But first, he's got to overcome tests, trials, and a rite of passage that leads to a supernatural encounter where he finds out what it truly means to be bold or brave onwards.
Now, I want you to tell them, what is BoldSaga? What is break down the word? Because it's an acronym, and reading this first book, there's more than one acronym, and I'm like, oh, he's playing with words. So
yes. I love words because I love reading dictionaries. I rap as well, so it's like all the wordplay, all the words mean.
He says very kindly,
very nonchalant.
Yes,
you know you're gonna have to do that now.
Oh man, well, the bold is an acronym for brave, having courage in the face of adversity. Onwards is the direction you have to move. Limits are the challenges we all face in life, and destroying is what we have to do, not just facing the problem and just leaving it, facing the problem to overcome it. Like every good video game shows you have to overcome the problems to get to the next level. Only can you save Peach after defeating Bowser.
A bar was dropped.
Not only bar, wisdom.
So, for one, this is dope, and I love the fact that you mentioned Shaka Zulu and Anansi, and 3, you're breaking down words that's from Kosa.
Kosa, yes.
And if anyone out there who's watched Black Panther, this was the language they were using. So the fact that you're using this book to not just bring this language into, and Trevor Noah as well. Trevor Noah knows it very well because he speaks it. But speaking this language, not only that, but bringing the African diaspora and the background from Africa to the forefront. So I want you to talk more about that book.
Perfect. Well, I wanted to make BoldSaga different. I didn't just want to make like a black manga where like he's a black kid living in Japan. I wanted to actually showcase like what would it be like if we had like Shaka Zulu and like Afrofuturism meets like the zaniness of like One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, Bleach. And I was like, I gotta add in the languages. Because if you're into any manga anime, you know that they be speaking languages. French, Japanese, German. So I'm like, okay, but let me choose Isin Osa. I had to actually get a book to understand it because this stuff is the clicks. And even in chapter 2, we even teach you like how to do the different clicks, like X click, C click, even the Q click, so that you're not just like lost in it. And the reason why I did that is I wanted to celebrate the actual African diaspora. I'm also Caribbean. And in chapter 2, you'll actually see them be like, wow, Guan boss, Minister cool out, mad at cousin pastor. Like actually putting in like the real stuff, so it's not like they're just black. No, like it's just like that song by Toby Nwigwe, I'm just hella black. Like, actually, in chapter 3, like they're actually eating griot or dirigeon. Anyone that's from Haiti knows that's like the national dish ackee with saltfish, jollof rice with suya chicken, mac and cheese, oh my. So it's literally, you're getting the full context, even in martial arts, because they can't just be doing karate and stuff. That's been done. So you see like stick fighting, capoeira, musangwe, like actually seeing what this stuff actually looks like. Even the dances, the guara guara, like, like it's literally like African culture meets like manga, and this cross makes something truly magnificent.
I like this a lot.
I love the fact of just the input of, and we're seeing this with not only yourself, sir, but other artists are doing this. I love the fact of how you're putting culture into a story, but it's also teaching. And like you, it's like I'm trying to learn a little bit more of the social language. I do know about the African martial arts just because martial arts is kind of my pet peeve. But I love the fact that you're including other things. Because the moment you mentioned jollof rice, I was like, oh, I'm hungry. It's like, oh, I'm hungry. But no,
it
was the hot fish for me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm always looking for spots around here in Cleveland, and I'm like, yeah, I need that. I need that. But I do. I really appreciate the fact that you're incorporating culture. You're incorporating the culture in your background, and not only that, like you just said, you're learning more about said background, and I think that's something. There's an awakening happening within our community that there's no kind of to it. They're realizing and recognizing, where we come from. Bless you. Like where we come from and feeling our culture out and really just accepting us and where we come from and respecting our culture as well. Like wow, they've kept this hidden. They kept this hidden, and once again, as we say over here, read banned books. Read them. So that was a mouthful. There's a lot of stuff going on in that. So Euwarnii, I want you to talk to the people about your main character, his power set. Because the fact that when I read it, I'm like, oh, he mentioned Shaka Zulu. I guess we here now. We're here now. And you mentioned a Nazi, which I actually I was blessed enough to be exposed to the stories of Anansi when I was much younger. The middle of the elementary school I went to, I used to just go in the library. I'm like, oh, Anansi the spider, he's a trickster. And then, but there's lessons to be taught. I need more. But talk more about your characters.
Perfect. Well, the way how the story starts is Masego's goal, as I've mentioned, he wants to be Shaka Zulu, but I didn't want to have another accidental hero. Like, I love Spider-Man, I love Batman, Black Panther, but I like stories where heroes achieve their greatness. It's not just dropped in their lap. So in Masego's case, I wanted to make him the hero that had it rough, because he literally, his goal, as I mentioned, is to get to be the Anansi, but you have to do a rite of passage, which is part of African culture. Like, you don't just become a man, you must go through a rite of passage to transform, to prove that you're ready to the community. And in the rite of passage, to get into Nebula, that's the prerequisite before you get into Star. And Nebula is a National Educational Breakthrough and Limited Leadership Academy. And then after you complete that, you go to STAR, Strategic Tactical Assault and Advanced Rescue. So these are organizations, schools. You don't just like get in to becoming powerful. Like, you have to go through a system.
I told you he got a thing for those acronyms. I told you.
I love acronyms, man. But Masego's failed. He's failed in public to the point people saying mosquitoes are stronger than him. No one believes in him. His parents are basically saying, like, it's over, it's a wrap. But he keeps going. And what I love throughout all of this is that he finds out what it truly is to be bold. It's not just being bold and being strong, like, I have to get my dream. It's more or less the fact, like in Rocky, that's how winning is done. How many times life is going to keep hitting you again and again and again and keep knocking you down and down. When you rise above it, that's your resilience. And I know that Black people, we all know it. From a cultural standpoint, most, in my opinion, and from historical standard, most resilient people on this planet. Like, we will go through so much, still come back, and still have that super hot fire. Like, it'll just be like so amazing. And at the end of the story, when you get into the power system, I didn't want it to be chi or chalk or anything that exists already. the power system in this BoldSaga is called a mandala. That's the Eastern also word for power, because it's all about the words, man, and then the significance. In addition, that the other power that they have is webs, which is VVS, the vibrant versatile silk. So it's like they've got the web and they've got the whole power. And when the story continues, you'll see how the power connects, even in this aspect, because it's not enough just to say it. Like you'll see adinkras all throughout the story. And these adinkras all have their own meaning. Like this one is Fahodie, perfect for Black History Month. It means emancipation, freedom, and liberation. That one right there. And it's
people, you got to see. We told you we educate over here.
Exactly. And every chapter comes with educational pages. So you'll be learning about momentum. You'll be learning about the Mutapa Empire. You'll be learning about all the different things that are throughout the story. And everything is translated. So if they're like Ungu Ba, which is like, who is that in Isizu Osa? It'd be like Igamalamingu. And then it will translate it like my name is in Zulu. So no one's lost. I hate in movies where like speak Spanish. It's stupid. Just translate it. So no one is ever lost. And you always feel an amazing time. And there's coloring pages. And there's also activity pages. So you see crossword puzzles, you see match the Adinkra, all these different things so that you're learning more about the culture. It's not just enough to experience Black excellence. It's more or less experiencing and understanding all the aspects of it. You get the full spectrum.
See, and that was going to be my next question is this something you can see? Because just reading it, I'm like, this is something that can be like in schools, you know, to kind of show children.
That was my question.
And then when you said activities and coloring books and crossword, I'm like, oh yes, this definitely can be in schools and kids can learn about it, you know, kids of all types, of all backgrounds. But because once again, not learning about one's culture will make you ignorant.
That part.
So it's not enough to learn about American history. We need to learn about African American history. We need to learn about Black history. We need to learn about the things that are not spoken of or things that were hidden, you know, and that's on both sides. You know, as the crew knows, I've coined this year the year of truth, because things have been coming out the woodwork and nobody can hide it anymore. Yeah. And no one can hide it. Thank you, Cat Williams, for kicking that gate open. So seeing stuff like that. So was that your original idea to have this, like, so kid, not only just adults can read it and learn some stuff, but kids as well?
I made it like that because, like, when I read manga as a Christian and also watch anime, it's like some of the stuff is like it's sus. You know, hypersexualization of children. You know, overly demonic themes. Like, I want stuff that like my family could read. My kid, when I have kids, you know, anyone can read that can just enjoy it. But even just making the story was a challenge in of itself, because this is the first time I actually released the manga. And then just even getting into it, had this major failure, felt like giving up. Black Sands had his 90-day book challenge, went through that, failed that. The pandemic happened, failed all my deadlines. My grandfather passes away. And I have to go back to the Caribbean to work on his funeral arrangement while still working on BoldSaga, which is why chapter 1, literally the first thing you see is the page where it says days may be dark, but still don't give up. Because that's one of the things that he told me that I never forget. So it's like, all of this ties back into the aspect of resilience, of being bold, of just following and focusing on your dreams, because life is going to test you. What will you do in the face of that test?
That part. That part.
This is something worth everyone of every age to recognize, realize, and understand.
But I do like the fact that your narrative is that you're keeping it positive based. You're trying to keep it, and I get that with everything, with other stuff going out there, especially how other comics, anime, things of that nature, how they're displayed. You want to give it a different lighting, and we've been saying it on this. We've been saying on this show. You know, there is a spot for positive storytelling with an influence of history, because, like we said. Like we've been saying, not a lot of people know about Hossa. Not a lot of people know about Kemet. Not a lot of people know the literal volumes of history that they should know. But if you could do it in such a way and you combine it with good storytelling, I can already tell by talking to you, you got me beat on abbreviations. So I thought I had a lock on that, but sir, you got me with the Star Wars one. But no, that right there is where it works. It's just no other way I can say that. It just works.
Thank you.
So Lainey, you're an educator.
Mm-hmm.
What does this do for you?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm looking at it as a parent first, to be honest, because in the background, I'm seeing your characters, and when you just said coloring, that was where my mind went. I'm like, how is this gonna be translated for even younger kids to have access to? So when you said coloring or when you said activity, I said yes, because I love to look for these things. To have my daughter at this point, my daughter is loving reading and I want her to keep on that, but I also now want to really tap into things that where she sees herself. So I'm gonna be looking for this to buy and just like share it with her. From an educational standpoint, I forgot which one of you guys said it, but you guys are right. Like this is something that needs to be in schools. That needs to be in all schools because again, this is not about just Black history for us to understand how we get along as a world people, we have to understand what has happened before. And not a lot of us are trying to do that, and especially the napkins of the world are not trying to do that. And that's not just an American thing, that's a world thing. They don't want to understand our plight. They want to have our flavor, but don't want to understand our blues. So it's just like I love seeing things like this come to the forefront. Like the little girl in me is excited. The mom in me is just so yes. Because like I said, I want to get this in front of my daughter.
Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that because when we do actually have a coloring book, and in one of the pages you'll see stuff like this in it. I don't know how well it is. We actually have Masego's parents. Masego's parents are in his life. They tell him that they love him, and they're both in chapter 1 because we know how they like to do parents in animes and mangas. And the shirt that they're wearing says "Black Love Forever."
I'm just happy to see both of them.
Right, that part.
Listen,
we are happy to see both.
I was just about to say, like, that's not something that is perpetuated, even though it's not. It is some people's way of life. I understand that, but it's not everybody's. And there are a lot more of family units, whether it be extended family units, but there's a lot more family units than there are just single parents out there. Not saying it's not there, but there is a lot more family units, whether it be two families or extended families. We're here. We're here.
I agree.
But yeah, it's nice to not have the trauma situation attached to parents. That's nice. I know it's one of those things we find ourselves saying all the time. It's like every time we hear a new story, it's like what's wrong with the parents, or what's wrong with the mom, what's wrong with the dad, what's wrong with the relative,
with the environment.
That's the other. Yeah, that's something else I noticed in the book. I'm like, both his parents are there. He's 15. Both his parents are there. And he's your typical teenager. His father wants him to get up, go to his job. His his mother is very supportive of what he's into and what he likes. So the structure is very much there, which is something you don't get to see a lot. And it's not a lot of books. Static is one book that does it. Your book does it. It's the Antagonist. That's another book that does the Black family dynamic. So, but generally you would get that one. You would always get those books where there has to be some level of trauma.
It's almost as if it's almost like there has to be a handicap. Like we don't need a handicap. Just give us just level out the field, and you can still give a good story. You could still make it, and you can still make it inviting. You can still make it worthy of reading. You don't have to handicap us. I mean, you already did enough in life. We don't need it in our books.
Because I like that you just said that, because I think that is what makes the publishing world go around, and that is the power of independent creators now. that they're able to put out these stories that do exactly what you're talking about. Because I feel like I'm seeing that more from independent creators than those who go through big publishing companies, because they don't want to put that out. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to see us succeed in every single way and still have a great story. You know?
Yeah.
This is dope. This is so beautiful.
Like, you don't need to have your parents be the evil that you need to overcome. Like, we know that you can bump heads with your parents. They don't have to necessarily be the big bad before you become this great big hero. Because for everybody else, once you leave the house, it's you against the rest of the world. Like, the world is I don't want to say it's your enemy, but it's definitely your antagonist.
Yeah.
And when you come home, whether you have one parent or two, that's the person that's going to raise you, that's going to support you, and ultimately mold you to be, good or bad, the person that you're going to be.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. Finish.
It's not. The world doesn't. The world does not stop at your doorstep. It's everything on the outside that also gives you character development, not just what's inside the house.
Right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I love how and I think we're in an age now of comics where they're actually drawing our people with their actual hair.
Oh, it's not just a fro.
It's not
a round bubble.
No, right? Like I'm looking at like the
cornrows.
Yeah, like the way the mom is wearing the hair, and I'm just looking at the inking, and I'm like, look, this is natural. This is real.
My boy has a nice line. My boy has a nice line shape up with a nice hairstyle.
Thank you.
I cannot.
She
cannot
has nice
tell
voluptuous and a big nose.
Oh man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that so much. Just because,
And
so quote unquote artists out there have never been able to draw us right, but to actually see us, I'm like, oh okay, oh you a fear is alleviated whenever I see us drawn the way we see ourselves, because that says a lot, that how artists see Black people versus our own people, how we see ourselves, and it's night and day. It's night and freaking day.
You're right, Bama, and the Killmonger locks. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. Like, when I draw the characters, and they're not gonna mess with the hair. I'm doing it myself. Thanos was right. Sometimes you just have to do it yourself. So I would literally draw it to the point I feel like I'm literally taking like a clippers and because you'll see people with fades in the story. You see them with locks. Like, one of my favorite drawings is this one, which is Amale. Like, when you look at the hair, it almost looks like it's right there in front of you.
Wow.
Texture. It does take a while, yes, but it's worth it.
It's comforting when you see it in comics. It's comforting when you see it being more prevalent in films like Monica Rambeau. Tiana Paris is wearing her hair, and it's natural, and it's gorgeous. And her mother, played by Lashana Lynch, same thing. She's wearing her hair. It's natural, and we're here for it. And it doesn't have to be, oh, we don't know what to do with it, and have bad wigs.
Right.
We're not pointing fingers at folks, but
we can't say it.
That could speak for itself.
So it's very appreciative when you have the attributes and you have the looks, and you can literally see yourself, or that little girl sees herself, or that little boy sees themselves in these characters, whether it's live action, whether it's in the comic book medium, and they get to express themselves. They're like, wow, this person looks like me.
And that's all it takes. The representation, that part, just the whole, like I said, the whole experience, to where you are showing them themselves, but you're showing them a world where it's not a certain track that they're used to. That's the part I love about all this, and the fact that, like, that artist, that the picture you just showed, I love the fact of how the density, the texture, and you're showing that from a 2D standpoint in a 3D environment. I'm like, that right there is all that's needed. But yeah, it's just I love seeing stuff like that, and that's what actually makes me want to say so badly. And again, Lainey did point this out, that going independent may be the only route to actually get those types of stories out, to actually get that type of message out. Because let's be honest, most publishing companies are looking for TP. I say TP short for trauma porn, but that's exactly what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tafari, you had a question?
Oh no, I was laughing at Kira because she was trying to be cute and sneeze off camera, but I saw.
I'm running boards and everything, so
I had to look away.
I'm looking down at her and laughing. She thinks I can't see her, but y'all carry on.
Will we Cinematic Assassin? What you got?
No, I just want to, I guess, echo everyone else's sentiments. The care and just level of detail that you put into the hair. I have a set. She's been locked for 2 years now, maybe a little bit longer. Damn near everywhere she goes, she's the only person her age hair locked, and not of this long. Like, you can tell, like, it's been a while, and she went through a whole thing of like, I don't want to do this no more. Like, please, can I? And it was when the Little Mermaid trailer first dropped. It's like, oh, wait, this is cool. Like, just like, and you know, it's something I take for granted as a man, something I take for granted as somebody that chooses to be bald because I'm lazy. Listen, me, Mike.
That's what that is. I'm like, I thought it was a fashion. For me, it's a fashion thing.
Well, but like, I didn't realize how impactful it actually would be for her, and so to know that there's more coming, more stuff out there that she can put her hands on, put her eyes on, and see herself. I thank you for that.
You're welcome, King. We need that. We really need positive, authentic representation, not no whack excellence where they're just trying to put in African culture and then just appropriate and put on type of foolishness. We need authentic Black excellence. Even in chapter 3, there's literally, because I love hip hop, I literally wrote a song called Hakuna Matata, which is Swahili for no limits. I literally have the hat that says I got no limits. And I wrote the song and I put it in the chapter. Thank you. It's all the stuff that I'm wearing is actually available in the store, and it's in the books as well. So like this song is literally played throughout the story. So you actually see it in the chapter, and we're working on the full version. The preview is available right now because we need bars. Like Killer B can't be the only one rapping. Like, we need actual bars, man. And we actually need ciphers. We actually need the 5 elements of hip hop. Like, you'll literally see it. Got the MC, DJ Morefire, and then DJ Easy Basso. Got the turntables and everything. Got the people bubbling. Because we need that. It can't just be like Hypnosis Mike, where there's hip hop, but there's no Black people and they're dancing like NSYNC. Like, who okayed this? Who okayed this?
I love the fact that you said the 5 elements of hip hop, and I'm like, yeah, there it is right there. You know, and you're including it's culture. It's culture in its vein, and God, we need that. Even Elizabeth agrees. She's like, yes, please. Like we need that. We don't get to see enough of that. You know, we don't get to see enough of it. We don't get to celebrate it enough. You know, so that's why, you know, here that's why I would say we don't celebrate Black History Month. We celebrate it throughout the year, and we don't care who doesn't like it, because the fact of the matter is
it's not for you.
It's just not for you. And 90, and if you don't like it that bad, okay. 90% of the stuff ain't for you neither, because we made that, you know. So
you never thought in the making during the making of this.
we did not consider your unseasoning.
Just like y'all do, by the way, just like y'all do us, we are not a consideration in 90% of the stuff.
That part.
The feeling is mutual.
Say that needs to be on a shirt. That right there is a shirt. That right there is a shirt saying, Kira,
we are not your consideration.
I got y'all. I'll get it pressed this weekend.
So, where else do you see BoldSaga going? Because you obviously have the book, the activity book, the coloring book. You obviously have the merchandise. Where else do you see it going?
I see it going many places because we got the merch like Mbali.
Look at this.
And all that.
Nice.
That's one thing I've learned. They asked a millionaire how you become a millionaire. He said own every part of the process. The end goal is media franchise. Like Pokemon can't be the only one. One Piece can't be the only one. And I see it evolving. We already have the audiobook for BoldSaga Chapter 1. I narrated that, got the music. So when you actually see everything that you just showed, we got the music going behind it. Oh my gosh. It's an experience. It's a pure vibe. I see it expanding into animation. I see it expanding into more merch. And I also see it expanding into this. Super excited. Education. Because this book shows you how to make your own manga series cover to cover. Now, this is something that they never show us. What they will generally show us is this, we've probably seen one of these before. How to draw manga, all this stuff. They don't show you how to do this, which is make your own book cover to cover. Like, who is the actual self-publisher? How do you actually copyright? Like, what is the point of a trademark? Like, where can you get infinite access to resources and things of that nature to make your book? What happens when you only focus on just the art, not the business? And those characters are in BoldSaga. And he had to put the Black King, Black Queen on the cover with the other people on it as well. Because we got to showcase ourselves in our stories, and we have to help people. Because the biggest people on the planet, Shonen Jump, made a book on making manga. And they said there is no path. There is no way. You just copy and steal. I'm like, what kind of foolishness is this? It's a copyright infringement strike. That's $750,000 to $150,000 if you get caught. So it's like, no, there is a way. And it's just 7 steps, only 7 steps. And I can save you thousands of dollars and years of time. We going through how to write the book, how to get the ideas for the book, how to self-publish the book, how to market the book. And then afterwards, if you want to continue, we have coaching program as well. Self-publishing goldmine about how to make your story worth its weight in gold. Because I feel if our people, because 2 things I remember. Melissa Kimball said, this world does not move without Black creativity. And Isaac Hayes III said that literally there's nothing cooler on this planet than a Black person. It's a fact. It's a fact. You can hate it. You can try and take it. When you even look at One Piece Gear 5, that's literally from a book called The Sacred Drums of Liberation by Don C. Ohadike. So they love to take our culture, but you can't take it because it's in the blood, in the bones. Like, we are cool, period. End of story. So if we understand are cool and made it, you know how many billionaires and millionaires who this is what I want to get into. We can't just be mangaka and just be shouting off people and drawing the Black version of Goku. Make your own. Make your own kings and queens. Like, that's what you do. Like, our culture is so cool. Should I even tell you? Even if you looked up the history of Kung Fu and you looked it up.
Yes.
Back far enough. And
don't hurt them. Don't hurt them.
Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it.
Oh my gosh. His name is on the tip of my tongue. But it's this man that made Kung Fu. It's an African man. When you really look it up.
If you reach back far enough,
Bodhidharma.
Yeah.
That's his name. When you look, someone is like the researchers of Kung Fu and Black people, like, it's so cool. Because it's your culture, man. It's literally
the basis of most Far East martial arts are based off that man.
I want to say one thing. I want to say the fit. The fit. It's giving Motherland. It's giving Power Rangers. It's giving Warrior.
It was giving Dora Milaje for me.
Man.
that took 2 weeks to complete that cover. I'm like, it has to be fire. It has to be so fire. It's undeniably fire. Like, it's Volcano at this point. Like, you can't say it's not hot. Like, you can't.
It looks, oh my God, it looks beautiful.
At the same time, you're not gatekeeping. You are pretty much saying, and I love that. I love the fact you're doing that. The fact that you are saying, look, I can't be, not only you showing how it's done, you're saying I can't be the only one. You're literally screaming it. I can't be the only one. If you can do it, here's how you do it, and go from there. So I love the fact that you are pretty much saying you can do it too, and that there needs to be more of us. And I love that message behind it. But I also got to throw and say on that picture, I said that's basically Killmonger if he had 2 parents and was accepted.
It's true. The orphan that doesn't, or this child that doesn't feel the love of the village will burn it down.
Yep.
African proverb is so true.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Like we've had that conversation before. We said, now imagine if they just took that kid in.
Right.
If they just took him in, his father dying literally was an accident.
Mm-hmm.
It was a knee-jerk reaction. But imagine if he had just took that child in. We wouldn't have had the issues.
No.
Oh my God. Euwarnii, this is dope. So shop.greatgale.com.
Yep, shop.greatgale.com. That's where you can get all the merch, all the books. We have even books, the coloring books. We have books teaching people how to speak Isin-Osa, A to Z. We even have books on Adinkra. We have that. We have devotional books that can help you. I am affirmations. Shawnee's flowers. Shawnee is there. There he is. Right. She's one of our favorite customers and fans. One of the favorite characters. So we have her merch. We have a book for her, and there's other books coming out as well. And all of that. And if you go to bold.greatgale.com, that's where you'll find our courses. Because we literally have a course on your epic manga advantage. Because one of the hardest parts of making manga is the drawing part. So I made a course showing you how I was able to go from like being behind like 6 to 7 months to catching up in 2 months on 2 books, which is chapter 3 and 4, using that system. How to beat AI art, as well as self-publishing goldmine. So we've got a bunch of different courses available, as well as merch, because we want to showcase Black excellence and help people step into going from just the consumer to the prosumer, the producer who also consumes.
And if you go to shop.greatgale.com, if you use the coupon, the coupon. You know, use the coupon. Use the word champion. You get 10%. The coupon. You use the word champion. You get 10% off. This is dope, man. This is like you've literally thought about now all the avenues and merchandise. Merchandising.
Boy, that New York coming out.
That's that yogurt. But you've thought about the merchandising. You've thought about including the kids, the adults, creating their own, and dude, there's a lot to say about this. Because and then on top of that, you're not gatekeeping it. Because you often have people out there outside our community, a couple in the community too. They gatekeep the gifts, and that's not necessary because like there's room at this table for everyone. The key is we have to build our own table.
Yep.
Ooh, that's the name of the next panel I'm having on my podcast, Elevate With You podcast. It's literally called the Build Your Own Table panel, where we're showing people how to make their own table. I didn't even tell you that.
Apparently it's a gift I got. I don't know what's going on. I'm still waiting on the numbers though.
It's coming.
It's got to. But this is dope, like because all of what you have, I'm in love with. The fact that I'm reading it and then I'm like, these acronyms caught me right off guard. But then I'm like, you're breaking down what certain words mean. So now I find myself trying to pronounce them. And then I'm like, am I learning? I'm learning, it's giving me this is Schoolhouse Rock. I like it.
I'm just building Capitol Hill.
And then you added the crossword puzzles, the coloring, and then the way just seeing themselves, and it's not overcomplicated. The art is not overcomplicated. It's nice and clean. You're mentioning characters that people are like, oh yeah, our people know who Shaka Zulu is. Our people know who Nazi is. Thankfully, but there's so much more, and you're giving them so much more. They were like, hey, it's okay if you like this book at this major company, but they keep restarting it. But what did you learn out of it?
That part.
That part.
What did you learn out of it? You know, when you talk about your walkabout, if you've read Black Panther, you know that's part of that. That's that rite of passage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when I see stuff like this, when I see this art, and I see the 7 steps to your dream, and I see the all of this stuff that you have set up for it, it's just like everybody can learn from this. And at the end of the day, that's the key. It doesn't matter your background at that point. You know, it's great if the person who's off color learns about it, but that means they respect it as well.
Ding ding.
Like, we've learned yours, now learn ours. So
it's like we're not gatekeeping. We're trying to help you, but you must. You know what it is. It's like making jollof rice for the first time. We will gladly show you the recipe, but you have to sit through the tutelage. Because not everybody can make it by themselves in the first try.
No.
Thank you for saying that, because I'm looking at his website, and you literally have like courses, like masterclass courses, and you don't see that a lot.
The griot is getting ideas.
Period. You do not see that.
You don't.
But the fact of the ownership too is like when you sit there and said own every aspect. I didn't want to sit there and be like that right there is where you could just pretty much said, okay, plant the flag and call it a night. It's like own every aspect is exactly right, because you are teaching. You was like, there's so many lessons, and I know it's on purpose, and I love the fact that it's on purpose, that you're not teaching just our history. You're not just teaching our culture. You're like, okay, I'm showing you this, but I'm also showing you how I did this. But at the same time, I'm planting one message. The message I'm planting in the middle of all this is own it all. It's like it's great to work with people, but it's also good to own every aspect of it. And I love the fact that, you know, it's so subtle unless you actually point it out. That's why I'm like, I like the fact that message that you're putting out there is because of that. Is that you're saying it's own every part. So therefore, no one can sit there and say that, oh well, you did, you know, that, well, he had this or he had that, and don't get me wrong, it's okay to have collaboration with others. But there's just something about 100% owning something that is basically your child.
That's right.
Exactly. You're so right about that, King, because there's this book, man, Blue Ocean Strategy, W. Chan Kim. A lot of times as creators that are Black and as creators in general, we keep fighting over red oceans, and it becomes a bloodbath where it's like, I got to have a Black character with lightning hair, and he's got to have the same haircut that they terribly gave Eddie in Tekken 8. You know, or like, you felt the pain the same way I felt it. It was a collective. But it's like, you don't have to be in the red oceans that they put us in. We can go into the blue oceans, where it's just a wide blue ocean, where we can just create our own stuff. And one of the best things I love out of that book is when he said, "I don't fight with my competition. I work to make them irrelevant." When they're irrelevant, it doesn't matter anymore. You can do your own thing because we're on our own lane and our own ocean, not just a little stream. Ocean. That's what we need to get to.
No, you're right.
It's like Doom had it right all this time.
There is no competition. There are merely allies that do not know, but yet still consider themselves adversaries.
There it is.
I have a question, because I don't want it to make it seem like I'm not paying attention. I know my head's been down. I've been trying to find an actual book to send people to read, or a place to cite sources about Africa, about Kung Fu's origins in Africa. Aside from your website, which I know is good, where can people go to or what books did you read in order to find out? Thank you. I know you had it.
English Dictionary by Aaron Fisher. What I love about this book is,
okay, so first off,
here we go. Oxford University Press. These are the best type of books to get, because once you start to do research on African culture, you're not just going to Google it. It's not going to be easily found.
Not there. You saw my head down for how long?
I'm telling you, this stuff is not easy. Like to create BoldSaga Chapter 1 took 20 months, and most of the time was research. Like I've done so many days worth of research, weeks, months, I can't even count it. So finding physical books is a great source. If you can find anyone connected to the culture that's actually like has it, that's even better. Like if you can find their book, whether it's on eBay. I love that even from Russell Brunson. You always be buying books. If you can find the original source physical book, that's the best thing. For Kung Fu and finding about Bodhidharma, I remember finding it on a site. I don't have that off the top of my head, but if I check, I might be able to find something. But I've gotten books on Amazon as well. You might be able to find a book on Amazon. But yeah, print might be more helpful. Digital, you might be able to find it. But you know, I like to take our stuff away from digital. So
it's not. Why would we put this up here for everybody to see point blank? No. You got to come to the house to get this. It's ain't available everywhere.
Come here.
I was gonna say you probably got a better chance there because I've had to tell people, especially on the martial arts side, there are a lot of reference books that can be found at your local libraries, unless you know they're on that banned books list. You can find them there. There's one I want to say, Origin of Martial Arts, the Real History. I forgot the artist's name, the author's name already. That's another one.
I saw that in my search.
Okay, so you got that one. Okay, good, because that's another one too.
Your processes remind me when I was in high school, and we had a teacher by the name of Mrs. Lockley. Her initials were JL. It was Justine, and we never knew her middle name, but we used to call her Justice and Liberty. Little skinny old black lady, but didn't take shit from anybody. And she was also our history teacher. And so when it came to the parts of Africa, and as you know in history books, they only give you a fraction, not even a fraction of information. But she literally one day in class said, you know what? And she slammed that book shut. She said, you know what? Let me tell you about Africa. Because this book isn't going to show you. And then she went further and she says, and I'm going to do you one further because I know they won't let me do this as a full class. She ended up setting it up to where we can come in after class, after school, and learn more in-depth Black history. Not outside of Martin, outside of Malcolm. I'm talking about Marcus Garvey. I'm talking about stuff they did. I'm talking about all the civil rights leaders. I'm talking about the tribes in Africa and the dynasties, Kemet, all of it. She covered as much as she could possibly get in 1 year.
Nice.
And
that's dope.
That's why we called her Justice and Liberty. She was like, she fought for us. It was even though it was a predominantly Black high school, she fought for us. Like it was. There was no skipping Miss Lockley's class. Let's put it that way. Even if you wanted to, you didn't want to, you know. So it's like if I skip this class, she gonna call my parents. Like I want to see your parents. She was that type of woman. So you know, rest in peace. But I didn't see her again until after I graduated. I didn't see her again until like maybe 5-6 years later, and she was sharing a hospital room with my grandmother. And all I know is I'm in there visiting my grandmother, and I'm just talking to her, and it was me, my mother, and my brother, and she was like, yeah, you know, we was talking about you, and I'm like, my mother was like, who? She was like, oh, me and my roommate, you know, and she was like, yeah, and she was like, yeah, when I mentioned your name, she knew you, and I'm like, huh? Look over, and she was like, yeah, I was wondering when you was gonna turn around. I'm like, oh no.
That's a scary moment. It's like, oh, I've been talking to your teacher. How are you talking to my teacher in the you start to remember everything you did. Like, oh shit.
It's a good thing I was good in your class. But yeah, so when you have that level of passion, like you have, and you have the avenues, like there's no reason why you can't learn anything. And I think this is something that we're trying to get a lot of schools, and Lainey, I think you can agree. There's a lot of schools that you fight to get certain things in. And just like, no, these kids need to know this stuff. You know,
I mean,
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you was finished. My fault. No, I agree with you because like, before I was a dean, I was a social studies teacher, 7th and 8th grade. And other than Martin for civil rights and Rosa, and other than the Underground Railroad, we talk about any Black history, it's just not there. So a lot of times I just had to pull in other sources. You know, as a dean now, when I think about, doing Black history, some of the things that we've done in the past, I used to say that we're doing Hidden Figures. And we're not doing the movie, but the thought process behind the movie's title. You know what I'm saying? I do not want y'all to talk about Martin. I do not want y'all to talk about Rosie. You're always going to hear about them. Give me people that we haven't heard from yet. Give me people from Africa. Do not just go with the regulars because you're always going to hear about them. It's something that is, no matter what, this is predating the current, anti-critical theory or the current banned books theory or whatever. They just don't have it. They don't want to have our history. They don't want to see us see us. You know what I'm saying? So if we're not doing it,
not just that, they don't want them
never
to
see them. Right. The fact that it's like two certain places we can't say that are currently having that same issue right now.
Well, Bama will answer one of those answers.
The ancestors got a root out on DeSantis. Just give it time.
I think that's the consensus for the Black community. It's just like, oh, you doing that?
Look, a tree falls in your house the day after you leave. That's just a missed hit.
Yeah.
Man, all I got to say is somewhere along the nature slept in on that day. It's like, bruh, you had a time and a date.
It's like, no, we were supposed to. Don't worry. Now they scared, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay, now we get them. No,
but that's really what all the hurricanes are. It's just the ancestors like, y'all need a bit of a bath. Just wash off tonight.
So I'm waiting.
Y'all non-washcloth haven't. I'm sorry.
What do you mean you don't wash your legs?
Spark.
Oh my god.
What do you mean you don't take a
I'm sorry.
Cap.
All right.
I'll stop.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Wednesday
Thank you. I'm about to say, a couple of years ago, they went through the we don't bathe every day, and we're all like collectively us non-Africans like, what are you talking about? Y'all don't bathe every day. Like
that was the one.
Wait, I got one better. No, we know.
that was the one time we as a people. This is where I believed in two things when that happened that day. One, there is a force among all of us as our essence, and two, we all felt it at the same goddamn time.
Damn right.
Oh man. So, Euwarnii, where can people find you and find your book?
Perfect. Well, you can follow us at GREATGALECO at Great Gale Co. We are on Instagram, YouTube, Clubhouse, Fanbase, WeKinfolk. And in addition to that, you can find our books at shop.greatgale.com. You can get our hats, our merch, bold.greatgale.com. That's where you can find all of our courses, our coaching program to show you how to create your books faster. And in addition to that, if you go to greatgale.com/steps, you can get this book, which is 7 Steps to Creating a Dream Manga Series, plus bonuses worth over $1,200. Right there on the site. greatgale.com/steps. Who else they give you how to make manga plus $1,000 in value?
Jesus. You just gave a word, dropped some bars, gave some knowledge.
I got you on
Fanbase. Everywhere, so you can check them out. Great Gale Co. on IG. You can also go to shop.greatgale.com. Get that 10% off by typing in that word champion. We will be right back. We got some news for you. Boy, did they not this week. Jesus Christ.
It's been a day.
It has. We will be right back.